Hello, my name is Allison Carmen, and welcome to my podcast, 10 Minutes to Less Suffering. The name of today's podcast is Everyone Wants to Be Seen, Heard, and Loved. Last week, one of my colleagues from my part-time job at the Motherhood Center left to pursue a new career. And before she left, she asked to meet me to say goodbye. And if you would have asked me what I thought she was going to say to me, I would have thought she was going to talk about all the great projects that we did, or how collaborative I was, or how much I helped her in certain business situations. But it's so interesting. When I spoke to her, she brought up two things that she really deeply appreciated, and none that had anything really to do with the work itself. One thing she said is that after the pandemic first started, in March 2020, I called her up on the phone to let her know that she shouldn't be worried about the fact that her kids are running in and out of her office all day long. Schools were closed and she had young kids. And I saw when they came in, she felt kind of nervous. We were at directors' meetings because she didn't want to look unprofessional, and there was really nothing that she could do. Her kids were adorable, and sure, there were disruptions, but it was cute. And honestly, I was impressed that she was able to focus and work every day. So I just wanted to let her know that she shouldn't worry about it. There's enough to be stressful about, and that was something that I wasn't judging her for, and I believe the other directors weren't judging her for, and that she could just relax about it. And she said that really meant a lot to me, because I didn't want to seem unprofessional, and it was such a pressure, but you really allowed me to not have to worry about that. And the other thing she said is she thanked me for calling her when she had a conflict with another employee at the company. I'd advocated for her to get some help to work the situation out, and she found my support for her immeasurable. But it was so interesting when you think about it. She was thanking me for being kind and compassionate, and that's the thing that she'll remember the most. And it wasn't that she didn't love working together and all those other things, but those were the two things that stood out. I think sometimes we don't realize that. We think that we're supposed to be out there solving problems and creating and producing things, and yet the things people will remember about us always, how kind and compassionate we were towards them. Did we see them? Did we hear them? And did we love them? Even when you hear people talk about growing up or talk about someone that's passed, they always talk about that person's kindness or dedication to them or caring for them. They'll talk about how a parent always went to their sporting events, or that a mother was always there for them, always listened, or a father. It's always about how that person made the other person feel. And I started to really think about this, because I think often I go into problem-solving mode. How can I help this person solve a problem? Or I could be very opinionated. And you forget that people want to be seen and sometimes just listened to. And they want to feel understood and cared for. And that's sometimes how you help them the most. And it's not the first time I've had this experience. I know I've told this story before, but I had this very famous client years ago, and she wanted to start a business. And she'd come to me every week to talk about the business, talk about starting it and what she needed to do. Yet every week she did nothing. And after 2 months, I turned to her. And I said, why do you keep coming back here? We haven't started anything for your business. It's not moving forward. You have your acting career. I said, so do you want to keep working together? And she's like, I absolutely want to keep working together. And I said, okay, as long as you feel that you're getting something from our sessions. And she said to me, of course I'm getting something from our sessions. You make me feel loved and understood and cared for. And I thought it was so interesting that that's why she was coming back. I think she liked the fact that I believed in her, and I saw her skills, and I believed that she could start a business, and it just felt good to her. It was like a big hug or a kiss, and I don't think she ever started that business. But it was a time period where someone else believed in her, and someone else cared. And we could all understand this, because all of us want to be seen, heard, and loved. I think that's the thing we yearn for the most. And yes, we need to see ourselves and love ourselves and listen to ourselves, but it does feel really wonderful when those around us do the same. I even changed how I spoke to my children over the weekend. I'm usually hearing what they have to say, and maybe I'll interject something I think, but I did. And whoever called me, I really slowed down to really see them and listen to what they were saying. Sometimes the only thing someone wants us to say is, wow, I totally understand what you're saying. Or thank you for sharing. I'm here for you. They don't want us to solve their problems. They want us to see them. And I find that if you listen long enough, they want your advice. They'll say, what do you think I should do? And then that's the perfect moment to share. And sometimes, we're going to jump in because someone really needs help and maybe they don't see it. So we can't always just be in the seeing, hearing, loving mode without helping out. But often people just want you to witness them, witness their experience, and then reach out with your kindness. And for this colleague, there was an action item. It was to let her know it was okay or to figure out a way to get her help. So yes, I did act, but I only acted because I saw her and I had compassion for her. I don't have young kids, but I imagine what it could be like. And I didn't have the conflict at the company, but I thought about how I would feel if I did. And that's another thing. It's so amazing when we could put ourselves in the other person's shoes for a moment and see how that would make us feel. And it's tricky because sometimes we wouldn't feel a certain way like the other person feels. But sometimes a lot of our suffering or our hurt or our trials and tribulations are very common. We forget that suffering is universal and most problems people have aren't much different. Also, when we remember that helps a lot too, to know that we're not alone. But that's how I offered help, because I put myself in that situation and I thought about what it would feel like. And other times we don't know, but we could listen and be present without judgment, without jumping to an answer. Sometimes someone just witnessing who we are. It's like we hold all these secrets that we think are dirty or bad or horrible about ourselves, but they're not. Everybody has fears and insecurities and dark times. And when we see someone during that and we say it's okay, and it doesn't make you bad, it doesn't make you weak, and we still love you, that's gold. And that's the way we really help people. And that's the way we really move forward. I'm sure you have colleagues at work that struggle, and sometimes they come to you, or sometimes you can go to them and say, I see you, I understand what you're going through, or I'm here for you. We don't have to let people always think they're so alone, even if we don't have a solution. Sometimes we could just listen and say, I understand. Even if we don't think their choice is going to be right, we don't always need to correct people unless, of course, it's something that's very dangerous. We could let people have their own experience and just know that we're here. It makes a world of difference. So I hope that you're seeing and hearing and loving yourself, but I also hope that you're also doing this for other people in your lives, for your children, for your partner, for your spouse, for your colleagues, for your friends. What a beautiful gift to make another person feel seen and important and loved. And it doesn't take much. It just takes kindness and understanding and listening, and sometimes reaching out in the simplest way to let them know that they're okay, or to let them know that you see their struggle, you understand their struggle, and sometimes doing them a favor which seems so small to you, but it's so meaningful to them. Thank you for listening to this podcast today. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you can email me at allison@allisoncarmen.com. If you'd like to buy my books, The Gift of Maybe or Year Without Men, they're available at all major bookstores and online retailers. And if you like this podcast, you could subscribe and leave a comment.